Good show ahead here on Ravens Rundown. We're going to talk about a trade idea for Dameon Pierce of the Houston Texans. We'll examine it, react to it, coming up in just a bit. Also, we got an update on Derrick Henry. What one anonymous NFL source had to say about Derrick Henry and his upcoming first season with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll also talk about his role in Todd Monken's offense coming up in just a little while from right now. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us, folks. We are so close to hitting 17,000 subscribers here on the channel. Just over 50 away from reaching that next milestone. Bosses tell me if we don't get there by the end of the week, we got to shut down the channel. So can't risk that happening. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/RavensTV, for daily Baltimore Ravens news you won't find anywhere else. Subscribe now, and let's get started with today's show. Last Word on Sports is suggesting a potential trade for the Baltimore Ravens for Houston Texans running back Dameon Pierce. And it's no secret that Pierce had a very good rookie season with the Houston Texans, but last year was kind of pushed to the wayside, if you will. They brought in Joe Mixon, so it would appear that Pierce's time in Houston is nearing an end. So what about the idea about bringing him to Baltimore? Here's more from Last Word on Sports. Mixon is the projected starter, even though he's on the older side, while Pierce remains as the backup, but realistically, he probably sees much playing time as long as he stays with the Texans. It may be safe to assume that the Ravens are a team that could need a running back despite promising to give a heavy workload to Derrick Henry. Baltimore should think again and share the snaps with a reliable number 2 running back. All right, I got 2 thoughts on this. First off, no thanks. If the Houston Texans have already pushed him to the wayside, why should the Ravens want him? If he's not good enough to play in Houston, why would he be good enough to play in Baltimore? That's number 1. Number 2, why are we so quick to dismiss this Ravens backfield outside of Derrick Henry? I have heard for months on end from the mainstream media tell me, the Ravens need to look at other options. They need to get Derrick Henry more help. And I'm saying to myself, are you not paying attention? I mean, look at the Ravens backfield right now. Justice Hill, I have no problems with. Solid backup running back. Keaton Mitchell was outstanding as a rookie last year. The UDFA out of East Carolina, you're expected to get him back sometime in October from injury. Then you bring in Rasheen Ali, the day 3 draft pick out of Marshall, who I'm very high on, and I think he's going to play a significant role in this offense. And you still have the best fullback in football in Patrick Ricard here. Like, what are we doing? Why would the Ravens need to add another running back? I know that the Ravens have had terrible luck when it comes to injuries at the running back position, but they're fine right now. Maybe we can have this discussion later on. A guy like Dameon Pierce, former 4th-round pick, led the Texans in rushing back in 2022 with 939 yards, 27 career games played with 20 starts. He's not a bad back by any stretch of the imagination, but the Ravens just don't have the need, I feel. Maybe if we have injuries or something, then we can evaluate and look at other options, but I just don't see why you would give up capital for Pierce right now. And you look at the statistics, all right? There is something alarming here about what we saw last year with Dameon Pierce, all right? Not only was he passed up in the depth chart by Singletary, but you look at what he did on the football field. That Houston Texans offense was one of the best offenses in football. They were greatly improved last year, except for Dameon Pierce. His yards per carry went from 4.3 to 2.9. Every other statistic went down drastically from what it was a year ago. I'm just not interested. The cost of a trade probably be about a 6th-round pick. I understand that's not going to cost you too much. But the other thing, if the Ravens are going to trade off draft capital and make a move, they have bigger needs, more pressing, concerning issues than trying to fill the running back position. We've talked about the wide receiver spot for the last several weeks. We've talked about the safety position a lot. Those things need to be taken care of. The offensive line, for crying out loud, before we ever mention trading for a running back, for goodness sakes. Let's ask you guys our pinned comment today. Should the Ravens trade for Dameon Pierce? I'm saying P for pass. I'm typing P. What do you guys think? Type T for trade. Type P for pass. Show that P in the comment section. Let us know what you think. All right, let's talk about Derrick Henry now. A new report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler details what an anonymous NFL head coach had to say about Derrick Henry. And it's pretty interesting hearing what this anonymous head coach had to say about Derrick Henry, talking about just how much does he have left in the tank. As we know, he's on the back end of his prime, coming into a new team in Baltimore. What exactly does he still have to offer? Well, let's dive in and see what Jeremy Fowler of ESPN had to say. This quote from an anonymous NFL coach. He's a warrior. He just keeps himself in such good physical conditioning with off-season workouts. I don't see him slowing down over the next 2 years. He's a volume back with great size, breaks tackles, has deceptive speed, and no one's really catching him if he gets going. I don't think he's lost a step. I hope that's indeed the case when it comes to Derrick Henry, that he's still that guy, because the plans the Baltimore Ravens have for Derrick Henry they're going all out. They plan to work him like a dog this year, folks. He is going to be a crucial part to this Ravens offense. They're going to need every ounce of energy that Derrick Henry still has left in the tank for this Ravens offense to be successful in 2024. And here's why I believe that Derrick Henry still has a lot to offer the Baltimore Ravens. Number one, Henry has rushed for over 1,000 yards 5 times in the last 6 seasons. All right? That's a pretty good track record. He also rushed for over 2,000 yards in 2020. That wasn't too long ago. Well, the rest of the world was getting COVID and getting these vaccines and all that. What was Derrick Henry doing? He was running for 2,000 yards. Pretty dang good. He's logged over 230 touches in 6 straight seasons, folks. That's a lot of mileage, and he's still powering his way through. And then one more for you, for good measure. In 3 of the last 6 seasons, he's had over 300 carries. So the track record speaks for itself that Derrick Henry is very reliable. So let's ask you, do you believe that Derrick Henry still has it? Do you believe in Derrick Henry? I do. I'm optimistic. Type B for believe, D for don't. Let us know in the comments section below. Speaking of the King Henry, we have his gear on sale now. Got his jerseys. We got some T-shirts. We got all sorts of Derrick Henry gear for you to get for yourself. Go to chatsports.com/King Henry to get yours today. Might stumble upon some free shipping as well. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/King Henry to get yours today. Derrick Henry, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, a 4-time Pro Bowler as recently as last season, a first-team All-Pro in 2020 when he was the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year that year. That was the season that he rushed for over 2,000 yards, a 2-time NFL rushing yards and touchdowns leader. And the thing that we keep hearing about Derrick Henry that everybody reiterates over and over again as far as the fit with Baltimore is that he looks like a Baltimore Raven, right? When you look at what the Ravens want to do offensively and how aggressive they are when it comes to their physical mindset and physical mentality, that's exactly what Derrick Henry embodies. And the statistics, to take it even a step further, back up what Derrick Henry's done. Over 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4.2 yards per carry behind a pitiful offensive line in Tennessee last year. The year prior, 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 4.4 yards per carry. And Todd Monken has said straight up they have big plans for Derrick Henry. And listening to Monken, folks, if you didn't hear this quote from Todd Monken a while back on Derrick Henry, I want you to hear this now because this is going to get your juices flowing. You're going to be excited when you hear this. I know this. If Henry carries it 300 times, we're having a hell of a year. It means we're running it a lot. It means we're up in games. We want him to finish. We want him to be the closer. Henry's the closer. I think what you'll see a lot from this Todd Monken offense is that they're going to start fast. They're going to throw it around the yard. They're going to try to get points as quick as they can in the first half of games. In the second half, they're going to pound the rock with Derrick Henry, and they're going to close out games, run out clock, and wear out teams as they go along. And that's where Derrick Henry comes in as the closer. So, before we get out of here, show some love to the closer, Derrick Henry. Spam closer in the comments section. We want to make sure that the Ravens flock let their voices be heard loud and clear. Show some love to Derrick Henry in the comments section below. Spam closer. Subscribe now to Ravens Rundown. Help us reach 17,000 subs, and we'll see you next time here on the channel.